I'm not gonna lie.
Too,
The
yeah.
UCLA was it just looked like a better team. Out of system, they were making really good decisions, really good setting, better in reception, better in service. Offensively, both teams are really good, and the setters were both really good. And then also our block defense was pretty impressive. Like UCLA doesn't usually play the best block defense, but we played some really good blocking defense. We had a lot of big defensive plays by our libero and by certain guys, and like the block was touching a lot of balls. So yeah, you can handle the heat. Yeah, you can handle the heat. Yeah, out of system you can handle the heat.
Booyaka Shell, welcome back to another episode of You Can't Handle the Heat. It's your boy G Swizz to my left, Jokesy. How we doing, Jokesy?
Good, how we doing?
Alive on. We are back home, as you can see. We are back home for my second pro season, just fourth pro season, and couldn't be happier to be back in the home sweet state of California, and still in the most southern part of Europe. We got Micah in Turkey. How we doing, Micah?
Good. Trying to join you guys pretty soon here. Almost there.
Well, you're in the championship game. You got 1-1, best of 5, yeah. All right. So, and how long could you possibly stay?
May 16th would be the last game.
Got you. Let's hope it doesn't get to that point. Let's hope you guys win the next two.
Yeah, whatever it takes, but hopefully, we can pull it out.
Exactly. Beggars can't be choosers. No,
exactly.
I get that. With that being said, before we get into it, make sure, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, support the boys. Also, summertime is here. We're back in California, and guess what? The sun is shining nice and bright. Whether you're in the indoor, whether you're in the outdoor, it doesn't matter. All volleyball has any gear that you can possibly ask for. Like I said, whether it's beach, whether it's grass, whether it's indoor, any type of setter's target, any type of shoes, any type of gear you want, they have. And guess what? I came home with no volleyball shoes, and guess what? I'm going to be outfitted by all volleyball. Make sure I get those because they got what I want, and they got what you want. I guarantee. Use a promo code GWIDDY, GWIDDY, for 20% off. Congrats for paying you to get all your favorite volleyball needs. And also, as you can see, Joe, stand a little upright more. Show the side. As you can see, we got our new peach. I haven't came up with a name for these, but the peach sweatshirt designed by the Micah. We're gonna release these in the next couple weeks or so. We'll kind of show our lovely viewers here first.
They're sick.
Yeah, but we still have other merch with the link in the bio. Make sure you check them out as well. Let's get into it. Our alma maters faced the national championship not too long ago. UCLA, the number 1 seed, versus the number 2 seed Hawaii, with UCLA coming on top. We were able to watch a good amount of it, but we had clinics. Micah, you were able to watch the entire thing. First off, when's the last time that an MPSF team won the national championship?
A while ago.
Who was it?
It's a great question.
Who was it?
Technically,
Didn't
the
you say the one that
MPSF
says
used to be different. So
Right.
I'm guessing it was before the split. Because since the split, it's been Long Beach and you guys, right?
Yeah,
Even
Big
before
West.
the split, I guess Irvine.
Before the split, there's Irvine probably.
How about this? What are the remaining
Stanford
MPSF
might have
teams?
been the one before that.
It was. I think I did that. 2006.
No, 2006
2010.
was the
Good job,
last
Gage.
UCLA one, I
That
think.
was BYU, I think. Oh, no.
2006 was the
I'm
last
all
time
over the
UCLA
place,
won.
man. So 2010 Stanford team was the last of the MPSF teams now to win a national championship.
Oof, yeah. Did BYU? No, I don't think BYU won either.
No,
They won
not
before.
BYU. The only other one I was thinking was PEP, but
No, I don't think so.
2004.
yeah, it was early 2000s.
It's been a while.
2004. I swear. You said 2006 was UCLA. 2008 was BYU. I want to say.
Really?
2010 was Stanford. Yeah. They won in the 2000s, earlier 2000s. Wow, look at them go. Well, Micah, look, like I said, you watched most of the game here. Hawaii has been to the last 4 national championships. They're now 2-2, unfortunately. Was still a good record, but you guys want to win 4 of them. What did you kind of see? What do you think led to UCLA coming out on top?
They're a really balanced team. I think actually I was impressed with like the balance on both teams. Like there wasn't necessarily a final where it was like DeFalco or Scherzen and Johnson. Like, I don't know. I just felt like these two teams had made it there because, like, as a team, they were really strong. It wasn't like a Nikolov
Right.
or just like how it was in different teams that have made it before. And so I was impressed by the balance, like how many good players were on the court, like the depth of the teams was impressive to me. I think, like I said, in the last podcast, I just think UCLA matches up pretty well against UH. I think Penn State would have been a tougher matchup because they play with speed and they have more service pressure. And I think that was kind of the story that for me was the service pressure. UCLA was kind of just always
There's
at
10
the net.
aces in the match.
I don't know how many, but Ryan Norris had 5 for UCLA.
What?
Yeah. Ryan Norris came off the bench, hit 727, and had 5 aces. So J.R. Norris, the only player on
Who's
the
your
court that
starting
I've
middle?
played with. And so I was super happy for him. I was showing him tough love when I was there. He was one of the few guys that I showed some tough love to. So,
How so?
no, I just was tough on him. I wanted him to be good, and I was tougher on him than a lot of other guys. But he came in and he had a huge impact on the game. Like I said, like the depth, like you bring off a guy off the bench in the middle, and he has 5 aces and 8 kills on 11 swings. And it's just like he's getting a lot of balls. Everyone got a lot of balls. The opposite played well. The setters were both really good. I just think they're on the net so much. They're on the net so much. And when you're on the net with middles like they have and speed going back, it's really tough to stop. They didn't miss as many serves as UCLA has missed in the past. And I think that, like, Sproul had talked about it a little bit, but, like, the idea is to be aggressive, but when we're tired or when we're not feeling it, how do we kind of manage that aggressivity and try and keep the ball in play? I also thought UH just made so many ball handling errors that, like, I haven't seen them make before as a program. Like, free balls weren't very great, and, like, out of system settings sometimes looked a little chaotic. They looked a little out of sorts. And so
Usually that's a case of fatigue when that stuff happens. I feel like when that's how it's happening a lot. They did go to 5 Thursday. I don't know. Like I said, I feel like that's always usually a case of fatigue when you see that happen.
yeah, it could be. They were making more mistakes than I'm used to seeing from them. But UCLA was just I'm not gonna lie,
too, yeah.
UCLA was it just looked like a better team. Out of system, they were making really good decisions, really good setting, better in reception, better in service. Offensively, both teams are really good. And the setters were both really good. And then also our block defense was pretty impressive. Like, UCLA doesn't usually play the best block defense, but we played some really good blocking defense. We had a lot of big defensive plays by our libero and by certain guys, and, like, the block was touching a lot of balls. So, yeah.
I'd be interested in also the preparation with, I don't know much about how UCLA prepares for matches, because in certain situations you could tell they're a little bit more prepared for balls. Like, they had a game plan against Tella, I think, but also that's just typical of UH. Like, UH isn't a team that does a whole lot of scheming on the block and stuff. It's a lot of, like, read blocking. Like, they talk about tendencies and stuff for the hitters, but I think I talked about this with you last week or the week before. The game plan for UCLA, like, certain situations, they had really good blocking matchups and stuff, and they had 6 guys in front on medium situations with Tella. Like, I noticed there's a certain situation they would always release out to the outside, and that I feel like that has a lot to do with game planning, but also UH. I don't know. There's, like, a predictability. I don't know. It seemed like UCLA took good advantage of those situations as well.
Well, that was, like, the
in block
reception, I
defense and
guess.
stuff.
Like, whenever UH had an opportunity to play middle, they were scoring. whether they set the middle or not,
Mhm.
they're running middle pipe. Even like when they would set to the pins, if the ball was on the net, it was 1-on-1. But there was just too many times that like Jakob was running around and just trying to give good hittable balls, and the blocking defense was solid. Like it was tough to get. There wasn't a lot of block out. Like they were really disciplined in block. They weren't reaching all over, and then the guys playing defense behind were really solid.
That's tough. It's crazy because you kind of see usually like I said, this is their 4th national championship. A lot of those guys on that team, they've been there for all 4 of them. Maybe not they're playing, but usually that's the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like for Hawaii to be in the situation, usually they're the steady ones. So it's kind of great because I know all those guys. I play with all those guys, so it's kind of crazy to me that that's the case. And like I said, the match point was also overpass free ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember because the shank, and then they put a ball, and then free balled over.
It's kind of
So we have to go watch more of it. But that's just kind of crazy to me that that's the case. First national championship, and then Hawaii's 4th.
yeah.
I don't know. It's a shocking, I should say.
Yeah, I was a little bit shocked as well. I'm not gonna lie. Not about the result, but more about just some certain plays on Hawaii's side that I was just surprised by. I was like, oh wow, I am surprised by this, but I do think UCLA was the best team all year, and yeah, they're solid, man. They're really solid. Like they're a solid team.
Yeah.
Everybody
And they're
does a
all
lot
returning,
for
yeah.
them. Like every position on that or every person on the court, like is solid, and does something pretty well. Whether it's like I spike well, I receive well, I do this well. So
And they're all returning. They're like Hawaii last year where they're all returning again.
yeah,
Except Hawaii, they're all leaving. Or a lot of them, except for like 2.
for me, I
3.
think this could be the start of a long run.
Think so?
I do. I think that they have like some pieces on the bench that nobody has really seen that are really, really impressive. Also, I do think that like in the beginning of the year with Miles leaving, that probably helped this happen a little bit, because even while I was there, it's like you have so much depth that sometimes it can like hurt a team. And for it to be like, nope, Rowan, you're the starter, it's your show, instead of like this back and forth and just a lot more clarity on people's roles on the team. I think that probably helped. But these guys got some youth on the bench, and the setter's young. I don't know exactly who's coming back with eligibility, with how confusing it gets now with COVID. I don't know who has what, but they're going to have a long run unless somebody gets some players from overseas. I think that's the one thing that has stopped UCLA's number 1 recruiting classes, is the fact that people don't rate Nikolov's recruiting class because they don't know who he is, and then they say, oh, yeah, he's probably the number 1 recruit. Or Parapunov and Van Til. Like, you look at the court for UH, right? Like,
Well, that's the rumor that with UH.
Yeah, I think they have a Bulgarian, a Serbian, maybe no Greek. Don't quote me on that. They got.
You know what I'm sick and tired of?
They got some of the top 2 recruits opposite setter for their class, this upcoming class.
Is the Bulgarian the setter? Is it Nikolov's brother?
No, the Bulgarians. I believe he is the setter's going to Long Beach.
But Nikolov's brother is?
Nikolov's brother. Nikolov's brother's going to Long Beach. I'm pretty sure. I played against him. He's
I heard he's good.
He's pretty
At
solid.
16
Big
years
hands.
old, I heard he's big and solid. Okay, so this is I have actually something to say, because I get frustrated with this. I actually got in an argument with Kapono-Fe about this, who is an assistant coach at UH. Shout out to Kapono-Fe. And he's like, yeah, like
Jew Jones.
we don't get the recruits, or like there's always just this story that UCLA gets the number 1 recruiting class and hasn't won. And I was like, yeah, like, and I'm not a very like protective person over UCLA or whatever the case may be. If you have an opinion, great, like go for it. But I remember there's just one time I'm like, dude, do you guys realize, like, yeah, you guys always say this, and then you guys literally have, like, 5 guys on your court that are not from America? Like, look at your best players right now. You got your setter, who's the player of the year, who's not from America, so you can't say, like, you had a bad recruiting class if all your players are not, like, from America. Then you got your opposite is your second best player, maybe, who's not from America. And your best receiver or outside hitter is not from America. And then you got a middle who, I really like Hoagland, by the way, but who's an All-American who's not from America. So that's 4 of your starters. Before you had Parpunov, Von Tilburg. It's been a long history at UH of overseas players. And that's great. That's fine. I'm not going to complain about that at all. I'm not complaining about people coming in. I don't care. But to just say, like, oh, these guys have all the recruits and they're not producing, it's like, dude, that's because this recruiting class is based off of, like, high school players who haven't been training since 14 and moved out of the house every day volleyball. Like, we played other sports and, like, yeah, we have the number 1 recruiting class for America. But things get changed when you're starting to bring in people from outside of America. So that's something I really have to say. And I just don't want to hear the whole, like, oh, number 1 recruiting class, because I think it gets that means nothing to me now with how big of an impact the overseas recruits have. Even Scherzen. Like, Scherzen was unbelievable and was not from America. And so what are you going to say? Like, Ohio State has the last place recruiting class because you don't know what this guy's capable of? Gets player of the year 2 times in a row.
That's correct. I think like you said at the beginning, you're talking about how it's like clear definitive roles. And I think Hawaii does that really, really well. So, for example, UCLA gets these class, and I was going to say this is like the first year where I saw UCLA stick with an actual lineup for a solid amount of time rather than the plug-and-play method, right? Because, like you said, you have so many top recruits with UCLA, and then I think it got oversaturated. And then because there would be so much plug and play, right, where there wasn't, you kind of need a hierarchy on the team. Everyone needs to know their role, as you said. In Hawaii, like you said, we bring in these foreigners, and sometimes they don't always start. Don't get me wrong, but there's a very clear, definitive, what your role is, kind of thing, you know. And I think also they did it, and maybe that's changing UCLA. Obviously, they said they were a top team this year, but also developing players. I think, cause like I said, when you have so many. We have number one in the country, number 1 recruiting class. You have a lot of talent in there all the time. So, like, how do you develop 25 guys at once, right? And I think they probably just chose their guys this year, which you have to at a certain point, right? If you're Hawaii, or there's 6 guys wiping the towels in practice. Like, there's a hierarchy there, you know. You have to wait your time or develop. And I think that Hawaii does that better, and I think UCLA is found it out.
Hawaii does it better because of Milan.
Yeah.
Milan makes Charlie, like, Charlie is always a coach. He, like, tries to, I think he would play around a little bit more if Milan wasn't there. Because Milan will be like, no, you play your first 6. Like, this is, like, there's no, like, messing around. Make it clear and play who you play. And so I think he's really big on that. You're talking, too, about UCLA. You feel like UCLA going on a longer run. It's interesting. Anybody who's been following college volleyball for a while, since 2014 now it is. It was Irvine, Ohio State. Oh, no. I think I missed that. But then, no, because Loyola was before that.
Yeah.
Was right before that. Then it was Ohio State, Long Beach, Hawaii, and then I can see UCLA going again next year, so back-to-back. But then teams like Hawaii are going to have that year of experience now with their new internationals and stuff. So maybe they come back and win 2 more after that.
Bring in the Euros.
Could be, but they'd be facing,
nobody's been able to
a
piece
UCLA team that, like, has won 2,
they'd be
but
facing the
pretty young.
UH team, pretty much the UH team this year. They won 2.
Yeah,
they've been together
exactly. Yeah, you're right. And they're all kind of seniors.
Is there anyone else?
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're kind of far removed from the picture, but seems like it's going to be UCLA and Hawaii battling it out for the next couple of years.
Long Beach as well.
There's that one.
Long Beach
just
with their coaching.
There's just one piece
program.
that Long Beach needs to figure out. and they'll be right back.
What is that piece? What would you say that piece is?
Yeah. What would you say that is?
Their offense.
What specifically about the offense? I think it's pretty. I think the thing that we're talking about is a lot of time it was the setting was a big thing that they need to fix it. Long Beach. That was something that's been kind of looming over them a lot of the time. You know, they had more of a balanced offense, but at times it was a little wild out there on the second touch. Not to say physically, their setters not bad or anything, but some decision making skills and some quick plays could have been handled a little better. I think that's safe to say. But like you said, I do have Nikolov coming in, and I played against him when he was 16.
Wow, I've heard he's pretty solid.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
he's good. He's a solid player.
He's pretty solid. Yeah, I think the overseas you
That's
can
why they
never
need to figure out
really
pins.
like get a handle on who's gonna be where and what they're gonna look like. But I think there's just like a top 3-4 programs that even when we were there, technically, I mean we weren't as good as this UCLA team, but it was like Long Beach, Hawaii, UCLA, and BYU, I would say, for the beginning part of our years there.
More so at the beginning, yeah.
And then maybe a team from Ohio State or one team from the Midwest or from the East Coast that is really solid too. But I feel like that's kind of that just is what it is. It's just how it's been, and I don't see it really changing very much.
I got a question for you, Micah. Your best UCLA team is probably your sophomore year, right? When you guys won the national championship.
That was my junior year. My best.
That was your junior year.
Yeah, that was my junior year. My best UCLA team, I think, should have been my sophomore year.
That was the Ohio State semifinals.
No, that was my freshman year.
What am I doing? But you were hurt.
They didn't make the
We didn't
NCAA
make the tournament my
sophomore
sophomore year. But technically, I think that was probably
played
going to be our
Ohio
best
State
year, our best team. Because it was the year before that we lost 18-16 in the fifth set against Ohio State. They win the title 3-0 against BYU.
Right.
And we returned everybody. But the next year, we had some issues off the court. And I don't know if injuries count as off the court or on the court. But
I mean, yeah, I mean.
We're
on the court.
No excuse. It is what it is. But we were plagued with injuries my senior year and sophomore year. It just is what it is. We didn't play a single game with our starting lineup. Kofi got thumb surgery. Mitch rolled his ankle and was out for a long time. Cracked a rib or something. Dylan had a herniated disc and had a concussion. He was out for a month. Jake Arnett's broke his big toe. JT Hatch had a concussion. I had a herniated disc. I couldn't hit. Is that our whole starting lineup? And our libero was off the team. So the only person that made it through the year without missing at least 4 or 5 games was Hagen Smith.
Got you. And would you say that we always talk about like the differing of levels throughout the years of college volleyball? Do you think that team, your team, could have beat this year's UCLA team?
I don't think so. I think this UCLA team's better than any of the teams I was on.
Say more consistent serve, receive, and serve.
Yeah, they had more balance than we had, I would say, and less mistakes. They make less mistakes.
I think on your guys' good nights, you guys win though. Because if you guys are serving the ball in, you guys that was always your guys'. That was the coin flip, I think, of it.
Best of 5 series.
Yeah, but they're gonna out ball control us. Their outsides I was really impressed by. Alex Knight had a game, man. He had an unbelievable game. I'm also really happy for him because he's a really nice kid. Their outsides are like perfect for this style of play, and they didn't make mistakes in reception and service. They're just consistent. And then they have middles that are beasts. The setter's really good. And then the opposite played with speed and, like, produced enough. and the libero is really good. I think they beat us. Do I think that they win the national championship? No. I think them going against the Long Beach with TJ, Kyle, and Josh, and then like really solid middles that run some interesting routes. I don't think that they beat that team because of talent. I think like at that level, at that point, I think the talent of like those three guys is able to beat them, like their team ball and like system. Also, they played really good defense, and they also had a really good role players. And then the UH teams that you guys were on. I think they beat the UH team that you guys were on that when Joe left.
We weren't. That
I think
good.
they beat that team. And Joe's senior year, I think you guys are able to beat them as well. Just a lot of firepower and just a lot of firepower. That team had a lot of firepower on that team. And you guys had experience, and the mindset and everything like that too was really strong. I think your guys' reception was stronger that year as well. I think to beat them, you need some reception, and I think you need some service pressure though. Like that's what that's how I feel. I think if you're just gonna put the ball in, they're gonna kind of dice you up, and if they're able to not push like maximum and get you outside of 3 meters, they're also gonna beat you. So if they're putting balls in like that aren't super tough, then they've got to be on the net.
Gotcha. It's like the ultimate old head argument, you know. I feel like the night, like, you know, when they had those. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like 2000, like 20 teams.
For sure.
Like, you know,
I tried to be as not biased as I can, but
no,
I think
100%.
Part of it is bias. What about you guys? I'll ask the same question to both of you.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I always think with your guys' class, since I was there afterwards, there'd been a decline in skill. It was very, very obvious. I remember I would be out there. I was like, "Yep, this is definitely a lot lower level volleyball." Like even like in the biggest matches, you know, I kind of made that realize that. Now, like I said, I've been out of the college scene for 2 years. As a whole, has the college gotten worse? In my opinion, yes. But this is an national championship with the top 2 teams, so it's not. I'm not judging college as a whole. Like I said, I would take our teams for sure. After Joe left and that team left, then it's definitely more of a coin flip for sure because we were kind of a one-man wrecking crew with Rado out there, and then Pat. But we were really good at passing and really good at serving. We were really consistent, and the reason why we only lost like one match that year is because we were consistent with those things. Yeah. So I will never. Personally, I'll never vote against us in that way because we also had a lot of firepower that year as well. Just minus Stein, basically. Guillermo Voss was in his freshman year, so he was a really good middle as well when we needed him to be. Good reception, me, Colton, and then we can kind of pinch Chaz a little more. So, I don't know. It would be definitely a closer game, but definitely for sure with when Joe was there. But anyway. Completely love it, but
also like
you guys said, it's all perspective.
I'm not the guy that's like I always take myself like these NBA players where they're like, all right, you are Michael Jordan, and they're like I gotta take me, and you're just like, bro, you're just, and I give them a lot of props because I think that that's necessary, like to be really great, and I think it helps them be better than they should be because of their confidence, and I want to say that. A lot of times off the court, I'm like, oh, yeah, they'd beat us. Or you guys know me. I'm usually like that. Even at, like, Wapaka or, like, Pottstown, we're playing a team. I'm like, oh, man, like, yeah, I don't know how this is going to go. But then once I step on the court, I think things change. And I think if I were to step on the court against this team, I think, yeah, I would bet on myself 100 times out of 100 and bet on the team that I'm on. So I'm not changing my answer, but I do think – if once that UCLA team that I was on, say junior year, steps on the court, I would be super confident and I'd be betting on us for sure.
Right. 100%. 100%. But leave your comments below for those of you maybe who didn't get to see us play in college. Obviously, you don't have an opinion, but if you did, leave the comment below. Also, leave some stuff that you felt that UCLA did better.
Also,
And then Hawaii.
I don't know if we haven't reached out to them yet, but stay on the lookout for a YouTube video this summer of us reaching out to the national champions, UCLA Bruins, and asking them to put together their best 3-man team and going head-to-head with them on the grass, maybe. So
100%.
might be something that
That'd
we're
be
going to
fun.
do.
That'd
I
be a
hope
fun
it's something that we do. And maybe we'll be able to settle this debate a little bit.
We have to do it, actually.
Yeah, we literally have to do it. It will happen. So just so you guys know, you get a little sneak peek. With that being said, guys, boys, always a pleasure hopping on the pod. Micah, we wish you the best of luck in your finals. It's good to be home, but maybe sometimes it's better to be in the finals. With that being said, again, if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Support the boys. Also supporting the boys. The Peach Perfection, the Peach Perfect, maybe I'll call it something like that. Sweatshirt will be out soon, but in the meantime, there's other merch. Click the link in the bio. We have camps coming up. This upcoming one we have in North Carolina. You can sign up below. Link in the bio. Like I said, it's North Carolina, Iowa, and Sacramento. North Carolina one comes in about 2 weeks here. What's the exact date for that? 22nd, 24th? 22nd, 24th. We'll be in Winston-Salem. So, again, if you're in the area, click the link in the bio. We have us, Claire Chaussier, Capono Faye, who we had mentioned, and Calais Mao, another returning one, among many, many other coaches that you can learn from. Also be a free coaches clinic on the 22nd, 23rd. So if you want to learn some stuff from some of the top players and top coaches, there will be that as well. Also, thanks to my friends at allvolleyball.com. If you were watching the national championship, you were inspired to be a better volleyball player, guess what? You can't step on the court without shoes, without socks, without the proper gear. What better place to get that proper gear than allvolleyball.com with the promo code 20% off. Witty, GWIDDY, 20% off for all your favorite volleyball gear. A one-stop shop, baby, number one volleyball retailer, allvolleyball.com. And with that being said, if you can't handle the heat, goddamn kitchen has been another episode presented by allvolleyball.com.